let me ask first, why the change in wording? Are you a little bit more cautious on production this year?
No, Matt. It has to do with the first quarter. We have seen a shutdown in Libya, and therefore we had a very low production rate in the first quarter. And now we have to go for some maintenance shutdown in Q3, and that's the main reason why we have to reduce a little bit our production forecast. But even more than production, I think the profitability we have shown in the second quarter is more impressive and more important. I think we smell more like a dollar than like a barrel, which is more important for us in these days.
Rainer, great to speak to you this morning. Can you give us your expectations for the LNG market? How long will the oversupply last? Are you expecting that to continue? And if you can give us your outlook for prices.
Well, first of all, I think we will have a depressive price in the European gas market. This has to do with the pretty low warm winter we have seen in the beginning of this year. And of course, the price development as well as the situation in the LNG markets will heavily depending on are we going to see an early arrival of the winter, which I'm of course asking for. The LNG market, I think it has to do with the slowdown, especially in Asia. We have seen lots of LNG cargoes landing here in Europe, creating an oversupply in the market. I think that this oversupply will stay also in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, also in the forward curve, we're going to see a recovery of the prices. And what is even more important, I think it's a little bit depending on whether or not Nord Stream 2 pipeline company and fresh gas will come on stream at the end of this year.
Winter is coming, no doubt, but it may not come as fast and hard as it typically does. How does global warming affect your business, Rainer?
Well, we will switch from oil to gas, and we will switch from oil to petrochemicals. So we are going to change our output. As you have seen, we have partnered up with the biggest electricity company in Austria, investing in the biggest PV station here in Austria. So we will invest a little bit into renewables. We will look forward that we will invest into, let's say, sustainable technologies like hydrogen production, like recycling of plastics into synthetic crude oil. These are, I think, the topics of high priority now in our portfolio.
That's interesting, Rainer. To build on that and the sort of long-term growth area for oil demand in petrochemicals, will other European refiners have to restructure to focus more on petchems as well if they want to survive long-term?
Well, from my point of view, roughly 1/3 of the European refiners do have the possibility to switch more to petrochemicals. You need to run an integrated refinery like OMV is doing with all our refineries in Europe. You have to invest into additional cracker capacities. But what is even more important, you can't change from a refiner to a petchem company. You need to understand the market. You need to understand what is the customer's basis and what is typical for OMV, and that's the secret of our stability and profitability. We do have a captive petchem market with our Borealis shareholding in our portfolio. That's very, very important. But what I do see as a trend also in our industry is that we are more moving from the European market, which is heavily saturated, towards the Asian market, where we see a higher growth potential.
I wonder about the Nord Stream 2 reports we've seen in the FT, Rainer. The Danish permit for construction hasn't been granted yet. Is that going to delay the completion of the pipeline within the timeline that you've set forth to begin with?
Matt, you're absolutely right. The timing is depending on the last remaining permit from Denmark. The authorities are doing a professional job. I can't see any delay as a strategy by the Danish authorities. From my point of view, we are still on budget and timing. We have to wait when they are going to make their decision.
Yeah. Rainer, you mentioned that you're seeking growth in Asia. You plan to invest in a petrochemical plant in Indonesia. Can you tell us what other M&A and investment projects you're pursuing in Europe, the Middle East and Asia?
Well, Nina, it's in a very early stage. We have started with an integrated cooperation in Abu Dhabi, and as we are now shareholder in the ADNOC refinery, we of course also would like to create a captive market behind the refinery. And we are a big producer of naphtha out of the Middle East, and now we are looking for a captive market in Asia, and that's one market we have in mind that we are screening the opportunities also in Indonesia. It is an interesting market in Asia. If we take India, after China and India, it's the third largest market you can find in Asia, and it's an interesting one. But it's too early to give you any numbers.